Next up, let's talk about flipping and rotating our artwork. So flipping means that we're going to create a mirror image of the artwork, and rotating obviously means we're going to move the object either clockwise or counterclockwise around a center point. So the first thing we're going to do is let's target our Colosseum layer. Go ahead and click on it, and then we're going to go to Edit, down to Transform, and then we're going to go over to Rotate. So again, the same bounding box pops up that was up before. And what I want us to do is go ahead and drag your mouse out over one of the corners and see how your mouse turns into an arrow that has kind of a curve to it. That means that you're about to rotate something. So if you click now and rotate, you're going to see that you can move your artwork either clockwise or counterclockwise around that center point that we were talking about. So as you do this, you can either go clockwise or counterclockwise. Go ahead and release your mouse button and let's undo that move. And just like we did when we were scaling, if we go up to our options bar, kind of in the middle of all of this is what looks like a little arrow, and you'll see that it has a rotate option. And then the box next to it is where you can set your rotation. So in this one, let's go ahead and type in 17, which is going to be 17 degrees clockwise. And then go ahead and hit your green check mark to commit that rotation. So as we commit that, you're going to see that our Colosseum has rotated 17 degrees. Let's also drag this Colosseum layer down so that it is right above our passport layer. So we're going to drag it all the way down, drop it right there, and it's going to go behind both of our two top coins and then the couple picture. So we dropped that Colosseum layer and we rotated it. Next up, let's talk about flipping artwork. So what we want to do is we're going to target both the couple layer and the couple shadow layer. Oops. Couple, and then I'm going to hold my control key down and click on the couple shadow. Okay. Now what we want to do is we're going to go up to Edit again, and we're going to go down to our Transform. And this one, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to say Flip Horizontal. When you do that, you're going to see that the girl and the boy flip places, essentially. And so it flips the artwork horizontally. You could also flip it vertically. We're going to do the horizontal option and be happy with that. Okay, our last thing that we're going to work with here is the bottom coin layer. So let's grab our bottom coin. Where'd you go here? Target that layer. And then we are going to do a Control T, which is another way to get that transform bounding box up. Control T on your keyboard. Notice that my bounding box popped up. And then I'm just going to hover out over one of the corners again, and I'm going to rotate counterclockwise until our coin is, the face is almost parallel with the edge of the photo there. And then I'm also going to drag it kind of down a little bit more and drop it. So one of the things like we were doing before was duplicating these different layers, and that's fine, always a good thing to do, but you should also always transform those so they don't look identical. This coin doesn't look identical to this one anymore because we've changed the size and we've rotated it. So once you've done that, go ahead and hit the green check mark to conform your rotate. And so what we just did is we flipped and we rotated 3 of the artworks on our image. Okay, now let's talk about adding layer styles to some of our different layers that we have. A layer style is a built-in effect that you can apply to layers. They're pre-made by Photoshop, but you have options to kind of change some of them. There's also numerous ways that you can add layer styles, so I'm going to show you a variety of ways and you can pick the one that you like best. So the first thing let's do is let's click on our pen layer. And let's go up to layer on our menu bar and then choose layer style and then outer glow. And this dialog box is going to pop up. It's our layer style dialog box. You'll become very familiar with this. And I'm just going to pull it over here out of the way so that we can see our pen here. The first thing you want to make sure is that your preview box is checked right here so we can see what happens as we do this to our pen. So let's change a couple of things here. Let's add go over and change our spread to 15. And the size, actually, let's bring that down a little bit to like 10. And let's bring our size all the way up to 100. Now, when you did this, you should start to see this kind of outer glow happening around the pen, which is what we just did, okay? Then go ahead and click in the set color. So this is the set color of your outer glow. Go ahead and click on that, and your color picker is going to pop up. Now, we haven't talked too much about the color picker. We will in the next coming lessons. But I want you to focus down here where the RGB values are. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So in the red text box, we're going to put in the number 253. In the green text box, we're going to put in 226. And in the blue text box, we're going to put 162. And it's almost kind of a peachy color, I would say. And then go ahead and click OK. And then click OK in your layer style box. So a couple of things have happened. We've added this outer glow to the pen. You're going to notice that over on your layers panel, and we look at our pen layer, we got this FX that popped up. That is signifying to us that we have a layer style on that layer. If it's open, like it is now, it's going to show that the effect is an outer glow. Now, what we can actually do is notice that we have those little eyes again, which is a layer visibility. If we click on that, you're going to see the difference between when we have the effect off and when we have the effect on. So that's just all that is a layer visibility icon. So you can toggle between those to see if you like the look of that outer glow or if you'd want to change it. Okay? If you want to change it, go ahead and double click on that outer glow on the layer panel, and the layer style box will pop up again. So here again, you can change the spread. You can see when it gets so far out at 100%, it's really harsh and that doesn't look very good. So I would recommend bringing that back down. You can also adjust the size. Maybe you don't want it to be so big. Maybe you want it to be a little bit bigger. Okay, you can adjust there. You can also play around with the quality, things like the range. You can also change the opacity and the noise. So you can play around with that, but I'm going to leave mine kind of as is, right about that 10% on the spread and the size right around 100. And then go ahead and click OK. All right, so that is how you add an outer glow. Again, that's a layer style. It's a pre-made one in Photoshop, but you can see how when you click on it, you have the option to kind of edit it to make it look the way that you want. Okay. Next up, we're going to look at adding a drop shadow. So a drop shadow is another one of the layer styles. Notice that on our layer panel right now, we have a couple shadow and we just don't really, that one was hand drawn. We're actually going to delete this. So go ahead and click on your couple shadow layer And we're going to go down to our little trash can and delete our couple shadow. And then we're going to add a layer style to our couple layer. So make sure that your couple layer is targeted. And then this time, if you go down to the very bottom of your layer panel, you're going to see that there's a little FX. This is another way that you can add a layer style. So I'm going to open this up and choose the option for drop shadow. This same layer style dialog box is going to pop up, okay? Except this time notice that we're clicked on drop shadow instead of outer glow. Okay, again, making sure that our preview box is checked so that we can see what's happening. Let's go ahead and add or change a few of these options. So we're going to change our opacity up to 80%. We're going to change the angle of our drop shadow to 60. And if you don't like using these little sliders, which you can click and drag, you can also just click in these and add the number in that I'm saying. For the distance, we're going to put it at 24 pixels. And you'll see this start to pop up really easily here. For the spread, we're going to put the spread at 30%, 30. And then for the size, we're going to put it at 70. And then go ahead and click OK. And now to really see the difference between what we did, I would use that indicates layer visibility over on your couples layer. So click next to the effect to toggle it on and toggle it off. So you can really see how that drop shadow adds some depth to the picture. I think it definitely looks better when we have that drop shadow on compared to when it's off. So that is a way for you to add that. Now, let's say you really like how that drop shadow looks. You like the size and the spread and the distance and all the things that we set. There is a way for us to copy that onto another layer. And the way that we do that is by holding our Alt key down on our keyboard and then clicking on this little FX, clicking and dragging, and you can see I kind of picked that FX up, and I'm going to drag it down and I'm going to drop it on that Colosseum layer. And now you can see that the Colosseum also has a drop shadow. If it's hard for you to see, you can just toggle it on and off, and you should be able to see that there. I'm going to do that one more time, just so you can see what I did, if it was hard to follow. On my couples layer, the one we just added that drop shadow to, I'm going to hold my Alt key down on my keyboard. I'm going to click on my little FX, which is on my layer. I'm going to click and drag, which means I'm going to pick up that FX. If you notice that you didn't pick it up, try clicking on it again. And then I'm going to drop it on my Colosseum layer. And that copied that drop shadow layer style that I created and dropped it right on the Colosseum layer. It's really handy because a lot of times you'll make an effect and you like the way it looks, and it saves you so much time from having to go and remember all of those little things and add a layer style on each layer. Okay, so very handy to do, very easy to do if you just remember to hold your Alt key down. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a file save here, and then we have one last thing to show you in this lesson on something called layer masks. Okay, so do a file save, and we'll see you in the next lesson.